welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yeah, today I'm going to be doing something totally different, and that is very sensitive topic. But I wanted to start this video because I would love to encourage you guys. Unlike other videos, I'm like trying to get views and I'm always trying to help people, but this video for sure is to educate. That's my whole goal. That's my whole motive, is to educate you guys, encourage you guys, and I really pray that my story helps you guys in some way. So, quick pause. If y'all hear any moaning or crying in the background, my neighbors have their dog in the patio, and he's crying like he's never been on the patio before. So he does this every time. They never let him back in. I don't know what's the magic hour or minute that they let him back in, but this is what I have to deal with. So welcome to my life. All right, let's get started. We're gonna jump right on in. Just to kind of give like a quick disclaimer, this is just my experience. Not everyone has dealt with this. Some people have had fantastic foster care experiences. Some people have had horrendous foster care experiences. So I just want to keep that in mind, that this is my personal experience. This is my testimony, and I just ask that whoever views this just respects it, respect my story. So first things first, my name is Pearly Massey, and I am from Rochester, New York. So I was in the foster care system in New York. So please keep that in mind. I was born July of '96, and my mother was 16 when she had me, and my father was 26. That's what my birth certificate says. So when you do the math, my mom was 10 years younger than my father when I was born, and at that time I already had an older sister. So yeah, it was given very much, what is y'all doing together, because it's not adding up. But yeah, so they had me. My father was never in my life, and my mom, she held it down, for 2 years. And then when I was 2, I was placed in foster care. And so I was placed in care at the age of 2 years old. And my mother, for whatever reason, couldn't take care of us. I also want to add too, I don't have access to my records. That is something I'm interested in, something I'm really passionate about. But at this present time, I do not have access to my records. But I do know that I was placed at the age of 2, at 2 years old, and that was the beginning of my journey in the foster care system. So by the age of 2, again, my mom could not take care of me and my sister, and we were placed in foster care. I have been in so many different foster homes. I promise you, I could give you an estimate, but I really don't want to lie to you. I have no idea how many foster homes I was in. So from 2 to 14, I was in foster care up into the age of 13, 14. I was just constantly in and out of my mother's care. So what does that mean? That means, my mother would get me. She would, whatever the situation was, I would be removed from the home, right? The home wasn't safe, or my mother wasn't properly taking care of me, whatever the case may be, right? Maybe my mother was homeless, right? I'm too young to really know the details. I was removed. Then fast forward, my mom would do what she has to do. It's called a court menu in New York, where literally the court hands the parent a menu of things they have to do and accomplish before they get custody of their child. And my mom would complete that list, get me and my sister back, then we would be removed. And then it was just constant ping pong game of okay, we're gonna put this kid here, we're gonna put this kid there, it was just it was just never stopping, right? And so I do have some memories of my mother. raising me. But then I also have a lot of memories with strangers, or just visions of houses that I don't remember what the foster parent looked like, but I remember what their kitchen looks like, or I remember what their backyard looks like. And that was my childhood, you know, spending Christmas and holidays and birthdays with complete strangers. It's very unhealthy. And so I can't tell my story without telling my mother's story. And just for the sake of your time, I won't get into like the nitty gritty and just drag it out. But my mother had a very rough upbringing herself. Like I said previously, my mother had me at 16 and my father was 26. And so my mother herself had been placed in foster care, and my mother has been in so many foster homes, so many different group homes. And even at one point, my mother was taking care of her brother, which is my uncle, and they didn't have any food in the house. And my mother would have to, you know, ask people to like shovel their driveways. Sorry. I know I should have got some tissue. Hold on. Jesus. Okay, I'm back. Because I knew it. I already knew it. Let me just hold on to these because I might need them sooner than I anticipate. But my mother used to take care of my uncle, which is her little brother, and my grandmother was nowhere to be found. My grandmother was on drugs, very heavy, and my mom had to fend for herself. So even though I had a hard, you know, upbringing, I've recognized that like my mom also had it very hard. And you know, it sucks because I'm so sorry. I said I wasn't gonna do this. It really sucks, you know, because my mom really had it hard. I gotta stop. But it sucks because, you know, when you know your history, you know, you're less prone to repeat it, or maybe you're influenced and you want to try it the way they did. I don't know. But you know, knowing my mom had such a hard upbringing, you know, even though my childhood sucked in some ways, in many ways it was really good, and my mother did the best she could. She did. So my mother was in care, and you know, was in and out of group homes and things of that sort. And so, you know, the fact that I was in care and, you know, in foster homes and stuff like that, you know, the cycle really, you know, just repeated itself with me. Even in a way that it like evolved, it repeated itself, but in a way it evolved because, you know, I also had some more pleasant experiences with my mother, and I've been exposed to some things that my mom has never been exposed to, thanks to foster care. So, you know, I just wanted to give you guys that quick background story of my mother. And then when it comes to my father, I don't know much about my father, but my father had his mother and father in his life, from my understanding. And I'm not really familiar with all the details, but I do know that, you know, he had a present mother, and he's never been in my life. My father has never provided for me in any way. One time I was hospitalized, and I needed a parent to come and sign paperwork, and my father was there. He came to sign the paperwork. So even though he has never done anything for me when I was in the hospital, he came and signed papers for me. So I mean, if that's all he could do, I thank God that he was able to show up for me in that way. But outside of that, he was never there. And so, back to the whole foster care piece. Again, I did have an older sister when I was born, And when I was placed in foster care, for the most part, me and her was placed together. And so that was our norm. We was always placed together. Like, that was my best friend up until the age of, like, I think 11, 12. She ran away, and this foster mom was like, she cannot come back. And that was the beginning of our end. We were never placed in foster homes together again. My sister would then go on to group homes, and I would go on to be in different foster care homes by myself. And it really sucked because my sister was kind of like my protector. I used to stutter a lot when I was a child. I was very shy, had like anxiety. Like, I was just very, you know, on like standby all the time, because it was just like, I've been through so much. My sister was always kind of like, you're not gonna talk about her, like, you know, who I'll beat them up for you, you know. So to have her be removed out of my life was really tragic for me, and I'm sure it hurt her in a way too, because she was always like my mother, my second mom. And so just to kind of give you that background, I just really want to talk about how foster care, I want to talk about some foster care pros, and I want to talk about some foster care cons, just so I can get this video rolling. And again, I'm also open to doing a part 2 if needed, if necessary. But I would definitely say we're gonna start with the cons. So first things first, foster care system really failed me when it comes to obviously keeping a relationship with my sister. The fact that they split us up, even though we were fine together. My sister did run away, my sister did have her issues, but me and my sister never had any issues. We're like, so there's situations where siblings can't be placed together because either they fight too much, or they sexually active with each other, or they do, you know, they experiment with one another. That was me and my sister. We never had that situation. So the fact that they split us up simply because my sister ran away from this foster home, I believe that they felt me in keeping and building those family connections. That was number one. Number two, I felt like they failed me in terms of my education. I literally went to 7 schools before even heading to high school, and I actually saw that on a document once when I was applying for colleges and needed to know like the schools I went to. I went to 7, so I was like trading schools almost every year. I even remember at one point I like was held back a grade, so I really like felt like they felt me in that way. And I've always been like behind. I've always felt like I was behind in school, because it was like, you know, you go to one school, they're learning something, you go to another school and they learning, like, they're already 10 steps ahead. So I'm trying to keep up, and I mean, they really felt me. And it's literally like the grace of God that I'm even here today. But yeah, I literally, I don't appreciate how they handled my education in the foster care system. Number 3, I think they failed meeting my like my physical needs. And when I say physical needs, I mean like going to doctor's appointments, going to the dentist, going to get my eyes checked. You know, foster parents are supposed to get that done within a time frame, and that was not happening. I've always had cavities in my teeth, and unfortunately, one thing I've always struggled with as a kid was eczema. Oh my goodness, I still have eczema to this day, and I actually don't eat meat, and I try to cut out dairy because I've recognized that, you know, there is some science to it. Excuse me. There is some science behind it. But yeah, like obviously, like, you can see my skin complexion. Like, my skin complexion was like purple, like right in between my thighs, because they used to rub together all the time. My thighs were literally purple. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad, and I couldn't walk, and I used to always be in pain, especially in the summertime. I didn't even bother wearing shorts because it was just like hell on earth. But oh my goodness, that was something that I really did not like. Like, my skin was, it was really bad, and like I would run out of like hydrocortisone, and like, you know, I don't even use hydrocortisone today because my outbreaks are so bad. Like, now I use this steroid. But anyways, I'm trying to go organic. Hold on, my alarm is going off. Okay. All right. Got the alarm. Good. So yeah, I'm trying to use like a CBD oil or lotion. Someone's just sent it to me like literally yesterday, so I might give that a try. But yeah, I literally didn't have like the prescription I needed to, you know, treat the eczema, and so definitely feel like they felt me in that area. And then I would definitely say like those are the cons. And then back to the education piece. I also used to stutter really bad as a child, and like I needed to like get out of the classroom to do like stuttering courses or, you know, classes or extra help or whatever, like speech therapy, sorry. And like I remember getting it at one school, but I really don't like, that was sometimes inconsistent. Like if someone didn't communicate with my school like, hey, she needs that extra time to go to speech therapy, like I would just go without. And so that's why I was so quiet, because I don't want to seem like an idiot talking, right? So again, those are some of the cons. There's so much more, but we'll be here all night. So I'm gonna stick with that. In terms of the positives, I would definitely say one of the positives of being in foster care was the exposure. Exposure is so important to anyone, but specifically kids, especially when you're used to chaos, when you're just so used and immersed in just craziness. When you finally see a different way of living, it's like, wow, okay, so that's not normal. And it's so crazy because even as a child, I always knew that the way I lived was not okay. Like I always wanted more. It was just insane. But anyways, yeah, exposure was extremely important. I got exposure to a quiet house, just stillness. It's like, wow, it's quiet. Wow. There's no yelling. There's no loud music. Like it was insane. So that, and then also just like having access to certain things, like, you know, being able to go to like amusement parks and just, you know, seeing a different way of living was really life-changing for me. So I would definitely say that. Number two, I would say one pro about being in foster care also too is building relationships. So I don't talk to all of the foster parents or people I've been in care with, but I still do have a good relationship with one of my foster families, and they still show up for me in many ways today. I won't even say the whole family, but like one person in the family, like we're really close, and I call her my cousin, so it's really cool. So I would definitely say that was a pro of being in care, is that I still have that relationship to this day, and she shows up for me like a real cousin does, which is pretty cool. I've never had a cousin before, so it's really nice to see how that is. So that's two. Number three, I would say another con about being in foster care, which I feel like doesn't really kick in until later, is that they do help with college. They do pay for college, they pay for your tuition. For the most part, all of that is covered. So yeah, those are the only pros I could say so far. But yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that. But just to wrap this all back up, you know, I have so many stories about being in foster care, and if you guys would like for me to kind of dive more into that, I don't mind doing that. You know, I don't know how I would like frame that video, but I have stories for literally days, and a lot of them are like traumatic, so, you know, like trigger warning, but that's just a little bit of my experience in care. You know, like I said, I was in care from the age of 2 to 14, and then I was pretty much homeless after 14. And again, I'm totally open to, you know, diving into that a little bit deeper. But that is my, you know, quick rundown of growing up in care, and I hope that you guys enjoy. Bye. Well, wait, there's more. Before I go, I just wanted to let you guys know this video is sponsored by Luxury Beauty & Co. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let's see. I'm kidding. It's not sponsored. But I do have my own lip liner. not like my own lip liner. I'll just use a different lip liner. But this is what's in the middle, and I love it so much. This color is called a Wifey, and I'm not getting sponsored or anything like that, but I love this lip gloss. I'm literally obsessed. And it's a Black owned business, and I'm just super obsessed with them. So, I mean, obviously I'm not getting anything out of this, but if this video goes anywhere, you know, I would love to just kind of send a Black owned business your way. And I hope that you guys can support, because this is some good stuff. To me, it's on the level of Fenty, but that's just me. So, but all right, guys, stay tuned for the next part, or stay tuned for part 2.